is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. And so yesterday was the beginning of National Nurses Week. What is it, the birthday of Florence Nightingale?
Yes.
I was going to say it's either Clara Barton or Florence Nightingale.
Florence Nightingale's birthday is May 12th.
Yeah.
But we celebrate all week long,
Yeah.
the 6th through the 12th, for National Nurses Week every year.
All right. So in the studio, we'll ask you both to help us celebrate National Nurses Week as we talk today with, let me see, because this screen is really faint, and I apologize for this. I should know right off the hand. Deana Szentmiklosi.
Szentmiklosi.
I came close.
But you were very close.
I had the Deana part.
You did. Yes.
Wendy Haislip is with us as well. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today. This is, over the past year, I think probably we have become more aware than ever of how important nurses are to us. And while you're right there on the front lines, you know this as well yourselves. Is this a really important week within the nursing community?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We celebrate Nurses Week every year, but I think this year is definitely more special than prior years. ANA, American Nurses Association, in 2020 named it the Year of the Nurse. However, as a result of the pandemic, they actually changed that and elaborated and made it also in 2021. So the pandemic has been extremely difficult to manage, but I have to say, as the Chief Nursing Officer, I've been extremely impressed and proud of the teamwork and the collaboration and the dedication by our nurses at Indiana Regional Medical Center, and it's really an honor to represent them.
Let's go ahead and just name it Century. Nurses Century.
The Nurses Century, yeah.
Because it is just amazing. If people have not been in the hospital setting or in the doctor's office setting and really experienced what a nurse has to do in order to do her job well, there's really no way to appreciate it, is there, Deana?
Not really. I mean, I think that this year really showed us how innovative nurses could be, how compassionate, how caring. We've really had to go above and beyond. For a while there, visitors were restricted at the hospital, so we had Zoom tablets, and nurses would spend time with patients, kind of connecting them so that they could see their families. So we had to be really creative and innovative throughout this past year, and that really showed, I think, across the globe how innovative nurses can be.
Let's talk about each of you and your journey to where you are today, not just with IRMC, but in your life. To become the person that you are, and why nursing is so important to you, Wendy?
Well, nursing was a career change for me. It was something I always wanted to do, but my life took a different direction when I was younger. And I think it was, interestingly enough, it was an experience I had as a patient in the hospital setting and the care I received by those nurses that really made me think about that I wanted to really pursue nursing as a career. It's been the best thing I've ever done. And I started out as a CNA. I would have never imagined that I would have been in a CNO position. It wasn't certainly my initial aspiration. I loved being at the bedside. I really enjoyed being there, taking care of my patients and their families. But opportunities presented themselves, and I, grew and evolved, and I'm here now. I've been here for the past 18 months as the Chief Nursing Officer, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, yeah. And boy, did you take over at a good time, huh?
Yes. No one saw that one coming.
No crystal ball.
You want to go back and redo that interview?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and it's not like you could call up area CNOs and ask them how they were handling it because it was new to them too.
Yeah, let's lean on your experience. Oh, wait, you don't know anything more about this than I do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Deana, what about you?
So my grandfather, right about the time I was entering college, was diagnosed with lung cancer. So in taking him to some of his treatments, I got to see kind of what nurses did and the interaction they had with him. So my sister, who was in healthcare, kind of recommended the LPN program for me at Indiana County Technology Center. And then from there, I went back, got my associate's degree as an RN, got my bachelor's degree, and then my master's degree in education. And so that's kind of where my passion is. I really love seeing people grow and reach their full potential.
Had you started with the intention going to college of being a nurse?
No, I was an English major. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, you have to speak English sometimes.
True, very true, yes.
Sometimes it sounds like Greek to somebody who's not in the profession.
Right,
But I'm sure for you it's been a great and rewarding experience as well, challenging and trying sometimes too.
Yeah, but I could not imagine myself doing anything else.
Really?
It's really my passion.
Yeah. Do you find that to be a common sentiment
I
among
think
people in the
so.
nursing
Yeah.
profession?
It's not just a job. It's really they're following their passion.
Yeah. And I'm sure, Wendy, because of your role, that you found that as well.
Absolutely. I pride myself on advocating for the frontline nurse and the nursing staff in general. I have a seat at the table with the senior team, and I'm out every Friday. As you see, I'm in scrubs. That's my Friday attire.
Hmm.
And I go out and I round on the floors and I'm checking in with nurses, what's going on, what supplies do you need? So that way, when I am advocating for them, I know what's important and what's necessary in order to make sure that they're able to work to the top of their license and they have what they need to be successful.
So you put your uniform on and your game face, and off you
I
go.
do, yes.
You're back in the
I
game.
do, and I love that. I really look
Yeah.
forward to Fridays and being out with the staff and just getting to know them as people
Hmm.
and also how their day is going and what can I do to support the work they're doing.
Yeah. In the past year, obviously, the way nurses do their work has to have changed in many, many ways. As you have had to adapt on the fly, and as your nurses have, um, talk, if you would, for a couple of moments about how adaptable they are and how creative you have to be.
I think nurses have always been adaptable, but it certainly has become more front and center over the last year. We've asked them to work in different departments. We've asked them to work in different environments than what they're normally accustomed to, which really allowed them to, while it was uncomfortable for them initially, wasn't maybe their field of expertise, they really stepped up to the plate and wanted to help each other out because at the end of the day, what's important to them is that they're taking care of our patients, which they see as, their family members, the community, their peers. They're very much dedicated to this community.
Deana, you mentioned this a couple of moments ago as well, that family members, of course, are not able to be with their loved ones who are in the hospital as they once were, and certainly at the beginning of the pandemic, not at all.
Right.
That has to have been tremendously difficult for them. And then you're the liaison. You're the person who really is there dealing with their loved one and then relating back to them.
Yeah.
Um, Special measure of compassion is called for there, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You're that support person for that patient who can't have their loved one there. And they're in a very scary situation. You don't always know what the outcome's going to be. So they really have to kind of lean on that nurse, and it takes more, not that they're not compassionate every single day, but it takes, you have to go above and beyond in those situations. So.
Yeah. Okay, Wendy, brag up on your team because you've got a tremendous team of
do.
nurses.
Yes, it's amazing to see when I'm out rounding or just to hear some of the stories that I hear from my directors or my managers, some of the touching stories and things that the family members have done or the staff have done for the patients in the hospital setting. Nurses Week is a great way to highlight them, but I like to highlight them all the time, and we're always looking for ways to recognize them at the front line. We've put a couple initiatives in place. Deana's going to speak to one of those here in a few moments, but we put an eye care giver recognition card in play that allows frontline staff to recognize each other. It also allows the patients and family members to recognize them. They can write a note of praise, so to speak. And so we're always looking for ways to highlight them in the work that they do. One of the big things and vision that we have for nursing is to create a shared governance model.
Okay.
Which is something that I had experience with in my previous organization, and I saw it as a great opportunity to really elevate the profession of nursing at Indiana. And this will be a series of councils that we'll create that focus on patient experience, quality, nursing practice, and it allows the frontline nurse to have a seat at the table and actually have a voice and say in how he or she practices, which is really the goal and the vision that we have for nursing.
Yeah. Sounds like, we use that word a lot, adaptability.
Yes.
And creativity is a big part of it. And it sounds like you're right on.
And one of the other things that we did is we created a nursing strategic plan. So the hospital has an organizational strategic plan, but nursing did not have one specific to them. And I wanted to make sure that we had that it supported the organization's strategic plan, but that nursing had one. Yeah. And again, we brought frontline nurses together. We went through a couple exercises. We had some guest speakers, and they helped drive and create the initiatives that we're going to focus on for the next 3 years. And I think that's really crucial. And so important to our future success. And they also created their own mission and vision that we did not have before either. And that's going to get revealed this week during Nurses Week.
Sounds tremendous. Okay, Deana, you've got the big announcement. This really sounds neat to me.
So we are partnering with the Daisy Foundation, and what the Daisy Foundation is in 1999, the Barnes family lost their son Patrick to an autoimmune disorder, and they created the Daisy Foundation, Diseases Attacking the Autoimmune System, and part of that foundation has the Daisy Award. So they wanted to have a special way to recognize nurses for compassion and the excellent care that they give to patients. So 6 times a year, we'll take nominations throughout the year for nurses. You write your story, patients, coworkers, physicians can participate, and then there's a committee that will select the award recipient. And 6 times a year, we'll do a celebration. The nurse that gets the nomination, there's cinnamon rolls, there's a big banner. It's a big celebration and a big deal. They get a certificate and a hand-carved plaque. So there's a lot that goes into it. So that's just another special way to recognize our nurses.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
And I
really does.
If I can add to that, I think one of the things that I really found impressive is when I presented this idea to leadership as well as the medical staff leadership at Indiana, they, hands down, unanimously, the medical staff leadership decided to fund this for nursing. So I think that really speaks to the respect and the value that they have for our nurses at Indiana, that they wanted to fund this program.
Absolutely. Ladies, we're so grateful you came in with us. We're so grateful for nurses and what they do for us. And probably we don't know 95% of what you do for us. So thank you again. Happy National Nurses Week.
Thank you.
And continued good fortune at IRMC.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it so much.
Yeah,
it is
you.
the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.